There are 19 sets of parents who are never going to get to kiss their child goodnight again.
Is this the moment to reform gun laws?
You know, it's easy to go to politics.
But it's important. It's at the heart of the issue.
I get that that's where the media likes to go.
No, it's not. It's where many of the people we've talked to here like to go.
The proposals from Democrats in the media, inevitably, when some violent psychopath murders people.
A violent psychopath who's able to get a weapon so easily. 18-year-old with 2 AR-15s.
If you want to stop violent crime, the proposals the Democrats have, none of them would have stopped this.
But why does this only happen in your country? I really think that's what many people around the world they cannot fathom. Why only in America? Why is this American exceptionalism so awful?
You know, I'm sorry you think American exceptionalism is awful.
I think this aspect of it.
You get your political agenda.
No, it's honestly,
God love you.
Senator, it's not. I just want to understand why you do not think that guns are the problem.
Why is this just an American problem?
It is just an American problem, sir.
Mr. Cruz, why is America the only country that faces this kind of mass shooting?
But you can't answer that. You can't answer that, can you, sir? You can't answer that. Why is this country?
Why is it that people come from all over the world to America? Because it's the freest, most prosperous, safest country on earth.
It may be the freest. It may be the most popular.
Why are our kids dying in school?
All right, gang, we need to talk about this absurd notion that mass shootings only happen in the United States. This is a talking point that I'm hearing repeated over and over again, ad nauseum, by the woke leftist activists who talk about defunding the police out of one side of their mouths while demanding that they disarm the public on the other side. These people have no moral standing, but I'm finding that even someone like Ted Cruz, who's otherwise quite the formidable debater, even he seemed ill-equipped to answer that charge that the United States is the only nation on the planet that has mass shootings. That is what we're going to be exploring today. We're going to be looking at the latest data on mass shootings in the United States as compared to the rest of the world so that you can be armed with the facts in the midst of leftist woke hysteria. I'm Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, and if you're new here, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Grab a notepad and a pen, and let's dive right in. One of the most thorough studies on global mass public shootings was published just a couple of years back by John R. Lott Jr., the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. The study is entitled Comparing the Global Rate of Mass Public Shootings to the U.S.'s rate and Comparing Their Changes Over Time. The study is available online. You can look at it. In fact, a huge shout out to attorney Robert Barnes for his recommendation of this study. You can look it up and read it yourself, but I'll walk you through it here on this video. Now, of course, when investigating any issue, we've got to start with our definitions. The study defines mass public shootings in accordance with the FBI's standard definition. The FBI only includes shootings in, quote, public places, such as commercial areas, that's malls, stores, and other businesses, schools and colleges, open spaces, government properties, including military bases and civilian houses, offices, that is, offices of worship and healthcare facilities. Interestingly, the FBI actually excludes from its definition acts like shootings that resulted from gang or drug violence or drive-by shootings and the like. Some, shootings that occur in the commission of another crime or robbery, or those done in self-defense, domestic dispute, or barricade hostage situations. From 1980 to 2013, the original FBI definition of mass killings had been, quote, 4 or more victims slain in one event in one location, and the offender is not included in the victim count. In 2013, the definition was changed to 3 or more killings, and the study points out that many academics have continued to use the 4 or more definition, and that's what this study goes with. So a mass public shooting is a killing of 4 or more people in what the FBI considers a public place, malls, stores, school sanctuaries, and the like, and it's not part of another crime like, drive-by shooting. So that's our definition. The next step is, where do we get our data from? How do people know how many mass shootings there have been all over the world? Well, according to this study, the primary source for that kind of data comes from what's called the University of Maryland Global Terrorism database. And what makes this database so invaluable is that it's collected data on over 170,000 terrorist attacks from 1970 to 2016. And so what Lott, the author of this study, did is he had his research team go through each of the attacks and assemble together the ones that came under that FBI-based definition of a mass public shooting. So obviously bombings were excluded, knife attacks, machete attacks, poison and the like. And then, in order to supplement what the global terrorism database did not include, which were a lot of these school shootings like Columbine and Sandy Hook, which were not labeled as acts of terrorism, so wouldn't be in that database, the study brought in other databases that included these mass shootings that are technically not terrorist acts. And so that's the overall database that this study analyzes. And what makes all of this a bit more complicated is that many of the countries around the world don't have accurate data on the amount of mass public shootings in their own countries. And whatever data they do have, it tends not to go beyond the last 10 years. And so with those limitations, this study examined the last 15 years of available data starting from 1998. And so what were its conclusions? Well, altogether, the study determined that between the years 1998 and 2015, there was a grand total of just over 2,400 mass public shootings around the world, 2,470 to be precise. Of those 2,400 shootings, 53 occurred in the United States. 53. That means the U.S. accounts for no more than 2.2% of the world's mass public shootings. In terms of death count, over 26,000 people were killed across the globe in those 2,400 plus mass public shootings. The United States death count totaled 394. That's 1.5% of all deaths from mass public shootings around the world. What are some of the examples of these mass shootings outside of the United States? Well, again, it may surprise you, but the worst incidents of mass public shootings have been in South Asia, Europe, and Africa. Back in April 2015, at Garissa University College in Kenya, 148 people were gunned down by 4 shooters. In 2014, 144 people were killed in what's called the Peshawar school massacre in Pakistan. In 2015, gunmen killed 130 people in the Paris attack. We could go on and on. 2011, Norway attacks, 77 people were killed. The South Korea shooting of 1982, 56 people were killed. We could go on and on, gang. This study has patiently and soberly analyzed the global data and found that the United States, again, whether we like it or not, whatever your political persuasion is responsible for only 2.2% of mass public shootings around the world. And even less so, it's responsible for just 1.5% of all deaths due to mass public shootings. And to round this off, just to bring this home, of the 97 countries that we have shooting statistics from, of the 97, the United States ranks 64th in the per capita rate of attacks and people killed. 63 nations rank higher than we do. Now, I would really urge you to read this report for yourself. Most people don't, of course, and that leaves them vulnerable to the nonsensical talking points of woke leftist activists disguised as journalists. But not you, and not here, not on this channel. We're here to make sure that you think better so that you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on woke culture getting destroyed. I arm you with some more powerful arguments that I think you're going to enjoy, so make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.